My name is Akua Opong, and I currently work for the London Stock Exchange Group. So I'm going to give you a bit of background information in terms of my education and then my whole journey into STEM. And then I'll talk a little bit more about my job role and how the structure is at the London Stock Exchange Group. So first of all, in terms of my background, when I was growing up as a child, my first role that I thought about going into was actually to be a paediatrician, which is a doctor that looks after children. And I just thought it would be such a really great, fun job, because I'm not sure if many of you have seen Grey's Anatomy. There are a doctor called Arizona Robbins, and basically she's a paediatrician doctor that skates around on the wards and stuff and looks after children. And she's just amazing. She is a person that cues magic, I would say. And then after that, I kind of thought, no, instead when I was studying, so I did A-levels at college where I studied sociology, business studies, and then religious studies philosophy. And those were more of my interests. But then as I was moving into going to getting a degree, I decided, no, I'm quite technical, and I like to always playing around on the computer, whether it was games or kind of writing articles, and I just found it more interesting. I was always quite good at problem solving and trying to work out puzzles and things like that. And I thought, no, a technology role would be ideal for me. So I ended up going to the University of Surrey, where I studied computing and IT, and that degree was amazing because it gave me such a great input into different areas of technology, whether it was programming, whether it was getting involved in a project and working with others, simulations, and it was so diverse, and even you could do mathematical subjects as well. So it kind of gave a nice blend and overview of what it'll be like in the future if I was getting into a technology role. And after that, once I finished university, I actually started working at Carphone Warehouse. And although I didn't go directly into a technology role straight away, one of the reasons was just because when I finished university, there was a lot of recession, so it was harder to get a role. And I personally thought, okay, if I start working at Carphone Warehouse, because I'll be around different technological devices, be dealing with things like setting up broadband connections, mobile devices, even laptops and hardware configuration. So I thought I could learn so much from that role. And also it would give me the soft skills in terms of customer service. So in terms of communicating with people, and that actually has helped me later on in life in my career through gaining those skills through that role. The other aspect of when I was at university as well, I did a placement year for 1 year with Rolls-Royce Motor Cars. And it was amazing because I got to learn so much about actually how they make cars, because where I was based was actually at the plant site. So you'll see the cars going through different stages of the production line. And the really exciting thing is I actually got to go to Goodwood Festival of Speed. So it's an annual event where they showcase different cars and motorcycles. And I actually got to see Lewis Hamilton start out. And this was actually when he was at Honda. But without talking too much about what year that was in, because that would just show my age as well, I found it a great experience because I got to learn so much, and it helped me kind of become the individual I am today. And then in terms of my actual career journey, I've worked in various roles. So this is my second job within the financial industry, but I've also worked in a consulting firm before. And one of my first and earliest jobs was also with the Dubai Royal Family. So we'd support them at different properties across the UK, Geneva, Morocco, and also Dubai. And it was a great experience because then you get to see the dynamics of being in a UK environment to working on a global scale. And now fast tracked to where I am now at the London Stock Exchange Group. I've been here for just over 2 years. And so I work as a senior analyst within their global technology team. And in terms of my role itself, it's quite varied. So no day is ever the same. So I provide support to mainly our kind of colleagues and customers on site in Europe, but then we also sometimes provide on-call support on the weekend to let's say our colleagues in South Africa, Australia. And so you meet so many different people within so many departments. And it's great because it helps you know more about the business and what each of the each of the other departments do as well, because back in the 17th century, actually the London Stock Exchange was a coffee house. So even though you see films such as Wolf of Wall Street, where they portray it as traders jumping up and down on tables, throwing paper in the air, it's totally different from that actual concept. And in terms of my role, it deals so much in terms of hardware support, applications, video, audio conferencing, also project work. And one of the key things during the whole kind of COVID pandemic, my role was quite key to the business, because it was providing support for those working from home as well as those in the office. And now we're trying to utilize more of a hybrid working environment. So that means that it gives the flexibility of staff to work from home or come into the office a couple of times a week. And at this moment in time, I'm kind of in the process of career pivoting. And what I mean by that is currently I'm in more desktop support, but I'm looking to go more into technical project management roles. So I've been doing a couple of Microsoft qualifications in cloud computing, and then also project management on the side as well, to help kind of balance between the two. So when I move into my next role, I'll kind of have as much knowledge as possible going into it. And that's what I love about my role. It's so broad and diverse, so you can pivot into different areas of technology. In terms of what I would say, in terms of advice, I would say networking is so important and key, and not just within the workplace, outside. So by attending events and joining webinars, just talking to people in the industry and even reaching out to them, because so many people want to kind of like give out that knowledge and help assist people grow into positions or even find their way within the technology industry. And it's changing every single day. You learn something new every day. And the other kind of key skills I would say is, as well as having problem solving and being quite analytical, for instance, being able to work in a team, being able to collaborate within the workplace is really good, having a positive mindset. And I would say one other thing is, just because we've also been through a pandemic, having that level of resilience is really good as well, because sometimes you'll get good days, you get challenges where you have to kind of dig deep and kind of be like, okay, like this is not going so well, like what can I do to resolve this issue? And another key thing as well is having empathy, because let's say as a leader within industry, you have to lead by example and show your team like the right way to act within the workplace, how to like communicate with individuals on a project. Because let's say when you're all in it together working as a team, the project is likely to be more successful, and you're likely to kind of achieve your targets and outcomes really quickly. The other thing I would say is definitely look for a mentor. It's so important. And even if they're not directly in your industry, they can help you kind of link up with someone else that could help you in terms of getting into that job role. And yeah, I just think that there's so many key skills that you can learn, and they don't directly have to be involved in the actual job role that you want at the time. And yeah, definitely keep speaking and like talking to other individuals in the industry. And also one thing that resonates with both the other panelists today is within London Stock Exchange Group, I would say, we've got different communities here. So we've got like the Black Empowered Network, the Women's Inspired Network, Mental Health Champions. So that helps us to and allows us to get to know our colleagues and also gain skills in a voluntary capacity that will help us in our day-to-day role. So I hope all of what I've said has been really helpful. And yeah, if you have any questions, please. I would say be brave. And what I mean by be brave is like I'm quite an introverted person, and growing up as a child, I was always quite shy, but just always have the confidence in your abilities. Because if you have that positive mental attitude, you're always going to succeed. You're always going to do well. And one thing is as well, give yourself the benefit of the doubt. And what I mean by that is not everything's always going to be perfect, but as long as you have that positive mindset and you know what outcome you want to achieve, then that's the greatest skill you could have, basically, just always having a positive mindset and like, yeah, I can do this, I've got this, I will achieve this. Because it's kind of like there's this famous quote and slogan that young girls with dreams become women with vision. And so you just kind of have to think on that kind of concept, and also within the workplace or even grown up, know what is my purpose. And that could be within the workplace, outside of work, like what do you want to do, what do you want to achieve. Always set up a clear amount of goals so that will carry you across in the future. The other thing that I would say as well is never be afraid to ask the question, because sometimes in a work environment, even if you're in a meeting and literally someone's trying to talk about a concept or propose something within the workplace, if you don't understand like where they're going with their concept, just ask the question like, could you elaborate, or can you clarify a few of those suggestions you made a bit more? Because no question is ever silly, because you'd rather ask a question from the start and then your kind of project works really well and flows, rather than ask it near the end or when something's been finalized, because that will cause more of a hindrance later on. So just always be brave, ask questions that you feel will not only contribute to yourself, but the team as a whole, and to have a positive mental attitude, and you'll always exceed. Just anything you do with a smile, embrace any change that comes to you as well.